Hello and welcome to the One People Show. So,
good morning, everyone.
Welcome to the One People Roundtable Show.
The show of insanity. Alice in Wonderland, Through the Looking Glass, Wizard of Oz.
Which reality are we in today? Now, this is a big one because this is interesting. Because so far, there's been a large group of us that seem to have been in agreement about the Mandela Effect. There's been kind of pretty much two camps. Ones who feel that everything has changed, everything almost, and others who feel, no, it's all same old, same old. It's always been Bernstein. It's always been sex and ethnicity. It's always been, no, Luke, no, I am your father. And they're not seeing any changes and think the rest of us are nuts. However, when we did our Saturday's impromptu WTF is going on thing, sort of put it out there that if the event of 9/11 or what was it, JFK's assassination.
Well, you said 9/11, and then after the show, I talked about JFK's assassination and Princess Diana's assassination.
If any of those major events start to change.
What does it mean?
Well, it's changed.
Guess what? JFK? Yeah.
But before we go into what the change is, I just want to talk a little bit about people's responses to it.
Oh, it was amazing, people's responses.
Because people who've been right there, it used to be Bernstein. Now it's not. That's changed. Now, and it used to, we were in agreement right up until this point about what seems to be an old timeline or an old reality or an alternative or whatever we're talking about here.
Or at the very least, people who've been very open-minded and been like, okay, that's really interesting. Okay.
We're seeing a schism amongst this group because there has been a significant change in the whole story around Kennedy's assassination. And so people who I would have said, we're all from the same reality, suddenly we're not.
And had judging from the responses, and not just in the Unfuckers group, but all over the place. I mean, because I went through YouTube videos, the responses, there was a lot of people that had almost what I'd call a virulent response of it was, no, it's always been that way. It's always been that way. You just don't remember. You don't remember. So whereas every change up to this point was a clear Mandela effect, now because there's a difference where they're not seeing it, it hasn't affected them personally, it's same old for them. It's like now they're saying everybody else is misremembering. But I think it's more than that. I think it's in generations. If we talk about things in generations, i.e. your grandparents' generation, your parents' generation, our generation, our children's generation, our grandchildren's generation, it seems almost as if there's in every generation one event that is massive. It's the kind of event that you will remember where you stood the moment you heard it announced.
Kurt Cobain blowing his head off.
Kurt Cobain.
River Phoenix dying at Johnny Depp's nightclub.
Princess Diana being killed. JFK's assassination. These are events that are so, I don't know, they had such an impact on people that people remember. Like I said, I can remember talking to my mom about exactly what class she was standing outside in high school when she heard that JFK had been assassinated, when it was announced over the PA system. She says, I could take you to the school today and take you to the very spot where she was standing when she heard the announcement. Same with me when Princess Diana died. It was the same thing for me. I can tell you exactly where I was standing, all the circumstances that led up to when the announcement came on about Princess Diana's death. So when there's a change in one of these events, if you want to almost call them nexus points events, maybe, when one of those nexus point events has a change, it seems to me that some people are really having a hard time. It's too personal, maybe too personal to their own memories because it was such a massive event. I don't know.
Really the version that I remember, that Dee remembers, that looks like many of you remember, is that there were 4 people in the car. The driver, a passenger, Kennedy and his wife in the back.
Yeah.
Now, the new version is that there is the driver, there is a passenger, there is now a bulletproof screen, presumably bulletproof, behind them, another row of seats with a governor and his wife, the Connollys, I believe, and then Kennedy and his wife. I got into the whole JFK thing when the film came out, when Oliver Stone's movie came out. That's what tweaked my interest. So in the research I did following that, and I know, again, in more recent years, there was the whole rumor about the driver. I mean, there's always been, did Jackie do it?
Did Jackie do it? Did the driver do it?
But there was the thing about the driver. Did the driver do it? And there was clear footage that showed at one point the driver reached back. Now, if he had a gun in his hand, and if this was even a remote possibility, that piece of glass couldn't have been there for one.
Yeah.
That theory could never have even been postulated had there been that whole middle section in the car.
Yeah.
But the Zapruder film is the big one, because that itself has changed.
It's changed.
That is the one. The Zapruder film is the one that everybody has dissected for years and years. And that is now different.
Yeah. Now, and this is the thing, and I've had, again, multiple discussions with people who, several people tell me I'm too young to remember because I wasn't alive at the time, right? I have been researching JFK's assassination for almost 30 years. It started in 1987, right out of high school, when I actually came across a book in a library, and it was someone who kicked me off to it. That was, and I wish I could remember the guy who was the journalist who has been chasing down all of this shit since the day of the assassination. And he wrote a book, and it was like 800 pages. I read that and was just like, oh. And very soon after that, the JFK movie with Kevin Costner came out. And I was really commenting on the shit that was from the book that was in the movie and all the big gaps from the book that weren't in the movie. I have been, when they re-released files, the FBI just released files about 1.5 years ago on JFK, and I went through and I reviewed all that stuff. So this has been an ongoing research for me for years. So when I saw this film, I was seriously like, there's no way. I have watched the Zapruder film. I watched the one when they re-released it all in high definition in 2012. I have watched all the news footage. I have watched all the films. There was only 4 people in that car. This
piece of footage that they're saying is the Zapruder film.
Yeah.
There are so many differences in it, as Joseph just noted too, because it's the same piece of footage that is analysed by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The one I remember, the driver does this, looks back, does that. He doesn't do that in this new version. The way Jackie tries to climb out of the back of the car
has changed.
There is no, one of the things that's really obvious in this new film is this huge bouquet that the couple, that like the Connollys are holding on to.
I was like, what the hell is kind this of big green thing? Like, what the hell is that?
That was never there.
No,
it's the thing that catches your eye all the time. It just sort of pulls you to it because it's such a big, huge, ornate piece of stuff in the way.
Stuff.
That was never there. I don't know what this means.
I laughed because I fucking said it. The words came out of my mouth. And it's like, no, well, going back to the whole conversation, is this just my little universe bubble, my own perspective? I'm just living in my own universe bubble, and then I made it happen because I said JFK, and you guys are all just, you know, playing around in my entangled and entwined in my universe bubble.
Well, fucking stop it.
I'm sorry. No, it's something major. I can't tell you what it means. The biblical changes are coming fast and furious to the point of almost every day, and they're fucking ridiculous. And we'll go into those in a second. I mean, they're fucking ridiculous. What are these, when something like JFK's assassination, this is a major gong for a lot of people.
See, even in the chat room, we have a distinct, almost 50-50, I think. 4 people in the car, 6 people in the car.
Yep.
Now, this group, who managed to make it to these shows live every week, have pretty much been in agreement week after week after week, as we've talked about these changes.
Just about everything.
And yet here we are. Now we've got a schism here. That's what's tripping me more than anything.
Okay. That night, though.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
The night before we woke up
to JFK, because that was like the morning. What was that? 3 mornings ago. The night before. Was that the night that I had the blinding migraine and had to was wearing my sunglasses all night? Was that night?
Could have been.
It may have been. I think actually it was. But we had Logan had a complete meltdown for no reason. And I mean, usually there's a tick off with him. Like someone says something, someone does something, he has a problem with something. This one, he literally just melted down in the middle of the living room, and he could not even tell me why he was crying, why he was completely beside himself. The next morning we got up, Ben had a nightmare, Nick had a nightmare, I had I wouldn't necessarily call it a nightmare, but a very intense dream, and woke up going, wow, this is really, I feel really off. And I'm pretty sure it was pardon me, the night before this, when I had the really bad headache, and that's what I tossed off when I got up in the morning, and I just felt completely weird, and I couldn't see properly. I was like, okay, it's got to be the residual of the headache. And then one of the very first things I see is this JFK, and I turned to everyone, and there was a whole gang of us sitting out here, and I was like, what did they just fucking change? Something changed last night. Something was inserted last night. What the fuck happened? You were out. Dude, you were out cold that night. That was the night. That was the night that I got,
I would say, pulled into sleep. I didn't fall asleep.
You were out cold.
I'm going now, and gone. People are dreaming.
A lot of dreams.
3 nights ago.
It would have been 3. Whatever. Well, if you ever. Yeah, I made the big on Facebook with the post about JFK. It was the night before. So if we hold on, well, guys, just give me a quick second. If I go over here, I'm going to say 3 nights ago. No.
We actually got it up.
I've pulled up every. Oh, is that the one I don't have pulled up? You must be joking. Yeah, but it'll be down here somewhere. Hold on, guys. Just give me a quick second, because I got it now. Now I've got my whole wall is full of Orlando shooter stuff. So pardon me, I have to scroll back past it all. This. Hold on, guys. Hold on. We're working.
Oh, rain bombs.
There's the rain bomb. The rain bombs. Yeah, let's get into the weather later. Just hold on, because that's another whole frickin'.
We have seen, just in this past week, I have seen cloud formations.
We've never seen before.
Rainbows in the sky, rainbow clouds. I've never seen it. I've never seen anything like what I'm seeing now. And apparently,
and holes in the sky. That was the big one. That I don't think. Well, look, those aren't even our pictures. Those were someone else posted those in the States,
and they look
identical to what our sky looked like.
Yeah.
Hold on. This is going to drive me nuts now that I can't find this stupid post. There. So what day did I post that? Hold on. June 12th.
What's
So I
today?
posted morning the 12th, so 3 days ago. So June 12th was, hold on, for us, that would have been, so it was Saturday night. Saturday night again.
What do you mean again?
The last Saturday night is when I said I had that weird out. It was a Saturday night in the sun into the Sunday where everything got all ridiculous right after we did the what the fuck report.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. Anyway.
I don't know days anymore.
I don't know days of the week. I don't know fucking anything anymore.
But,
yeah.
Okay, one thing that this new footage does, in terms of all the conspiracy theories around what really happened, it eliminates the shooter, for one. Doesn't eliminate Jackie.
No.
I mean, it eliminates the driver as the shooter.
Yeah. Because there's now a bulletproof glass window in between them, so couldn't have been the driver.
But what does this do for the magic bullet theory? How, based on where it looks like he got hit, does it eliminate the second person being hit in the shoulder?
I don't know. And I didn't go into the whole thing. I did not go into all the ins and outs because there's obviously several new videos talking about conspiracies to do with who the shooter was, which is why all this film footage now, and you can see all these things. I don't know. Why does it all come up now? And then all of a sudden we all go, wait a second, there's 2 extra people in the car. Or some of us say.
Okay, Barbara's saying, now that you're talking about it, I feel as if I remember both. And that's interesting too.
Uh-huh.
I've had a couple of people go, oh, I'm not sure. I sort of feel like clearly remember both equally. And I don't, am I?
And that's actually really interesting because in some of the previous Mandela Effect things that we've talked about, I have memories of both. I have very clear memories of kind of both. And you kind of go, okay, is it that, for example, the one is, no, I am your father, and Luke, I am your father. I clearly remember both. And what I said was one, a memory of watching the original movie, and one, a memory of a very recent memory of watching it with my kids in the last year where it's already been changed. Is that why I have both memories? Or is it much more twisted and convoluted than that, that basically you've been through both timelines, dimensions, whatever you want to call it? I don't know. I don't know. It's all fucked up. That's what we do know.
Okay, get this. Me and my partner had the biggest row since we've been together. We almost split up. It was like he was somebody else. That was Friday night in the UK. We're okay now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go there.
Including a couple. If you know what he's called, you've got his...
I don't have the video. I do have the video open. And I'll post the link. When we post the recording of this, I will definitely post the link.
He has a radio show. And he and his wife are both convinced right now that they're not dealing with the same version of each other that they've always been married to for 15 years or something. According to her, now this is a little thing, but it's one of those significant things you know about your partner.
Yep.
According to her, he's a ketchup freak, a tomato sauce freak, and he puts it on everything. According to him, he hates it. Doesn't put it on anything, never has. She says that 2 weeks prior to this discussion that they had, where he's saying, I hate ketchup, she's saying, you put it on everything. She said, I watched you make a sandwich 2 weeks ago and smother the stuff on your sandwich. And he's like, why would I do that? That's disgusting.
I would never do that.
I would never do. And that's what's tipped them off.
And they actually did a show together where they basically said, this is not my wife and this is not my husband. I mean, it is, but it's not. And as you guys know, we have these days where it's like, okay, you're not my Dani. Yep.
You're not my Darius.
just before we
You're not
watched
my
that,
phoenix. You're not my
before
Nick.
we watched that video, Nick turned to me and we were having a conversation with a group of people. I don't remember what the topic was about. And somehow got onto medical stuff. And he says to me, you know, like that time when you had Bell's palsy. And I looked at him and was like, what? He goes, yeah, just before Quinlan was born, you got Bell's palsy. Something, you know, in your face, like you had a pinch in the nerve and your face went all paralyzed for a few days. And I'm like, yeah, no, it didn't happen. I have no idea what you're talking about. And he was like, don't be ridiculous. Of course you do. Well, you just don't remember. I'm like, if I said, hey, Lisa, do you remember that ear infection you had 2 weeks ago where the blood was pouring out of your ear? And you went, no, I've never had an ear infection like that. Well, that's kind of how I feel about the whole Bell's palsy thing. If I had Bell's palsy in my face, you can sure I would remember it. Guaranteed. Nick swears he clearly remembers me having it. I clearly say, no fucking way, didn't happen. Not to this Dani.
But when no one's sticking, it's not like with this couple where you can say, okay, I've just now got this new person in my life and that's who they are now. It's like with us,
it's rotating.
It's dodging and weaving and in and out. And yeah, you're my version of whoever at the moment, and then or today, and then you're not the next day, and then you're back again. And it's not like someone just got switched out permanently.
But there's almost like levels of it, like. And I wonder if the reason it feels that way to us is because we're just that much more sensitive and open and we're looking for it. We recognize it because sometimes those changes are really a lot. I think that 90% of those changes are a lot more subtle than something like that. So, for example, the bit with Nick and the Bell's palsy, if he hadn't have made that comment, I never would have put two and two together. Someone approached me, and I had a lot of conversations in the last couple of days, and his girlfriend in the last 3 months has gone from this to this to this to this and just left him. And he's absolutely devastated. And he says, I don't understand, because it was like everything was fine, and then it was just like click. All of a sudden, everything was completely for her, completely wrong. She didn't want to be with him anymore, didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore, wasn't attracted to him anymore. And then a couple of weeks after that, it was like click, everything was back to kind of sort of back to normal again. And then a month and a half later, it was like click. And we can talk about things like psychotic breakdowns, and we can talk about, you know, people having their own mental issues when we're dealing with all the heavy energetics right now. I mean, there's a lot of heavy energetics going on, and we can all have our freak out days just due to that. But when we're seeing these kind of switchovers, I take them seriously. This isn't just people who are flighty or bipolar or whatever. There's a lot more to it than this. Who's this?
Kimberly. My kids had a memory from the 90s about me and their dad, and it just didn't happen. It was so freaky.
Well, we had a friend we were discussing, we won't give names, we had a friend who was having a conversation with his parents. And the whole evening, 2 nights ago, the conversation, it was like, he'd say this, his parents would go, no, I didn't. He'd say this, his parents would go, what are you talking about? They'd say this, he'd go, are you on crack? That never happened. I'm shitting you not. And this is where I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on?
I wonder if this switching is causing the doubt everyone around me is experiencing. A lot of the talk, and you guys have probably gone and watched a whole bunch of people talking about the Mandela effect that I haven't even looked at.
Yeah.
So give me the skinny on this. Is the general approach out there about the Mandela effect that it's, I don't know, to simplify things, the bad guys messing and manipulating and changing things? Or do they have a if you had to, I mean, there may not be an overwhelming voice or opinion on this. It may just be really, really
Everyone's
diverse,
fucked up.
But is it, I mean, I know as far as, say, the yellow rose for Texas type of information would be that this is totally an organic process, and it's all a positive thing. It's a good thing. It's the whole thing of breaking down.
Well,
and there's a couple of different versions of that positive take on things. That this is Gaia. This is our collective. This is, you know, we're bringing it all down, and it's all just signs, positive signs that it's all collapsing. And then you've got, no, it's all the bad guys messing with things, and they're going back in time, and they're changing stuff, and they're inserting things into timelines. It's Cern.
It's Cern. It's the devil. That's what you get, of course, with all the biblical changes right now. Apparently, there's now been multiple videos of people who just recently kind of woken up to all the biblical changes in the States.
Mushrooms and the Twinkies?
Mushrooms and the Twinkies. That could very well be a theory. Although someone tried to, on the video we did, the what the fuck, kind of standalone YouTube video that we did a week and a half ago, someone was like, "Oh, this is just like mass hysteria. That's all this is. All this is this Mandela effect. It's just mass hysteria." Right. Okay, that's what you want to believe. Have fun with that.
No one was looking for this stuff.
No, and that's one of the things. It just comes out and smacks you in the face. Okay, granted, there's a few people who are looking for this stuff. We know several people who are like apparently combing the Bible left, right, and center and coming.
Oh no, I mean they are now, but no, it's not like
not before.
Not before. I mean today I know there are people who's probably spending all day, every day, combing through the Bible and looking for changes, little words, but and they're finding them.
Oh, we'll get into that in a second. Oh, some of these changes are just.
Nothing will top unicorns in the Bible for me. I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't imagine what it would take to top unicorns in the Bible.
I don't know. Piss and stuff. And like, dude, I moved my stuff in the Bible. Okay, great.
If the line, dude, I lost my car, comes in.
Dude, I lost my car keys. No. Okay, well, we might as well get into this for a second. Let's just take a look. So, everything we find online, we just happen to have a 1964 version, printed in 1964, of the King James. So, printed in 1964. So, this is from before the colloquialisms were fucking trendy. And every one of the things that has been posted in the Unfuckers room, we have cross-referenced in. They're there. They're there. So, one of them is the word piss is in the Bible. And pisseth, which I personally thought was really cute. And I went and I looked up the word piss. I was like, okay, let's just do a little research on the word piss. Okay, piss meaning urinate, piss. Yes, it is an actual old word. It has been used in the English language since around the 13th century, according to history. Ha. But it has always been a not nice word. It's always been a slang. It's always been crude. It's not the word your mother would use at the dinner table. It's not the word they would put in the fucking Bible. It's not a nice word. 1964, it still wasn't a nice word. It was not a word that my mother would ever say in 1964. Wouldn't have happened. So it would not have been in the Bible. Yet, the word piss is. We have the word...
It's urine everywhere else.
It's everywhere else. All the other Bibles say urine. The King James versions, all of them, say piss. Now, I'm going to go over here and pull up screen share and show everyone the various ones. Hold on, guys. Okay. Bear with me. So stuff. Here we go. Stuff is now in the Bible. Luke 17:31. I swear to God, I fucking giggled my ass off. This one just really, and this was the one I just saw this morning. I missed it when it was originally posted. Luke 12. Luke. Hold on, we've got pictures everywhere. Luke 7, 9, 11. Come on. 17:31.
Yes.
Okay. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. That's right, because he had his stuff, dude. I had my stuff in my house. Yeah, again, stuff, not a word that would have been in modern colloquialism in the 1964. Definitely not in the 1600s. Stuff. I call bullshit. Hold on, let's go. This is piss, right?
Kings 18:27.
And there's multiple scriptures. Basically every scripture in the Bible that says urine now says piss. Yeah, hath he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall that they may eat their own dung and drink their own piss with you? Yeah, again, didn't happen. I'm pretty damn sure of it. Hold on. No, I don't want that. Give me a second, guys. This is one of the ones that made me go,
oh, did we not talk about this one?
no, we haven't talked about this already. The word Easter, or maybe we did. Guys, maybe you can help me if we talked about this in the last show. The word Passover, so in the Christian Greek scriptures, the Gospels, Jesus is arrested just at the Passover. The Last Supper, they were celebrating Passover dinner. Jesus being purportedly Jewish and all his disciples purportedly being Jewish, they were celebrating Passover. In the King James Version of the Bible, everywhere it says Passover, it has been replaced with the word Easter. As in, Pilate basically didn't want to crucify Jesus because it was Passover. And they would wait till Passover be over, because now he's saying he didn't want to crucify Jesus because it was Easter. And they wanted to wait till Easter was over, because Easter couldn't be over because they hadn't crucified him yet. Because Easter is the holiday remembering Christ's crucifixion. So how could they not crucify him? Because they were waiting for his crucifixion to not happen. It just makes no sense. Why in the world would you substitute the word Easter for Passover? They're two completely different holidays.
Apparently wineskin has changed to bottles.
Yes, I did hear that one too. That was another one that went by last week. Everywhere where it says wineskin.
Can anyone give us where it says that so Dee can look it up physically?
I got the Bible.
The wineskin was one profound change, yeah.
And no, but here's the thing. As I look at stuff like that and say, okay, bottle, they would have had bottles in the 1600s when the King James Version was originally written. So perhaps they would have made that substitution at that time and instead of wineskin said bottle. Perhaps, because you could see that it's a normal word. It is a word that would have been in existence in that era. But piss and stuff, no, definitely not.
Somebody said when they put the word fuck in the Bible.
Well, no, this shit. Oh.
And then Jeff's asked Solace to please put it in there.
Solace, please put the word fuck in the Bible so we have a little for sure symptom.
I was going to say something earlier. What was it? What were we talking? No, it's gone.
So, anyways, basically, we can close that for the moment if you want to turn off the screen share.
Oh, okay.
There are Christian groups apparently right now who the whole Lord's Prayer thing has just been discovered by another wave of people, and it's much, much bigger than it was in October. Like, way bigger. And there are a shitload of videos now of like literally evangelical Christians in the States losing their shit. This is the work of the devil. The devil's doing this. It's all the devil, etc., etc., etc. So this is a major one. If we have something, this whole wave in the last couple of weeks of the whole Lord's Prayer thing, people are just discovering that. And we have this JFK thing as well. I'm telling you, these are major, like it seems to come in waves. What does that mean? That it comes in waves?
Brenda's got a new King James version. It still says goods. Doesn't say stuff.
I'm gonna have to go hang up the sun shield for like the whole 30 seconds.
If you remain calm, this can be fun. Yeah. Well, kind of like the hypotheses the other week of, you know, or the analogy of the ant farm, right? If this is an organic, positive, revealing, right? I think that whatever is on the other side of all of this, whatever is actually real, is so far removed from what we know that to just go from here to seeing that, we probably would lose our minds. But this is a very gradual process of shaking us up to just at least contemplating that not everything is as it seems, that reality is changeable, fluid, perhaps.
Reality is very changeable and fluid.
And I think to me, it feels like it's speeding up, right? You know, it seemed to be a couple of weeks between Mandela Effect changes 6 months ago even. Now, I don't think a day goes by where at least one thing is brought to our attention that is different to what we remember.
Yeah, we're not even talking about the multitude of names being changed of products, names of stores being changed, all of this words of songs. We haven't even gotten into that. We're looking at literally just a very small, a very specific section of these that are coming out. I mean,
and they're getting bigger, like JFK.
Like, yeah, Lord Spur and JFK. I don't know. That's pretty fucking big. 9/11 and Princess Diana's death. Kurt Cobain's still alive. I don't know. Let's just wait and see.
Oh, I'd like a world where Kurt Cobain is still alive, where River Phoenix is still alive.
Pardon me, guys.
Elvis Presley. If Elvis Presley has not left the building, that would be awesome.
Well, you know, there are theories on that. There are a lot of theories that that Elvis Presley never did leave the building.
I know.
And that he has now. Just recently.
Exactly.
And
Easter is a Christian holiday, not a Jewish holiday. It didn't exist until after he...
Exactly. And even that didn't exist until 75 years after.
No, there used to be I know there was no unicorns.
No bottles. There is no unicorns. There's no unicorns. And there's no piss.
Memorial Day is now Holocaust Memorial Day.
What? What? No.
Is that true?
What? Memorial Day is Holocaust Memorial Day? Wait, was it? Okay, I'm not American, so Canada, we don't have a Memorial Day. Isn't that like a war Memorial Day? Isn't that what it is?
Overall?
Not like World War II Memorial Day to the soldiers, isn't it?
The inn.
Yeah, the inn changes to a motel.
Turn to the Hilton.
That's right. It'll be the Hilton Marriott. Yeah, you want to stay there? 10% off discount if you show them your Bible.
But see, I don't see how it's a giant piss take. I don't see how, unless they are literally using time travel technology and going back in and changing our past, that's the only way I can perceive right now of how our physical world is changing. It's not just like they're taking the piss by changing everything online or changing the digital stuff. It's the physical as well. Okay.
And now I'm going to go back to screen sharing because I almost forgot this. We're going to go look at some maps.
Oh, that's the other one.
Okay. Maps. I'm going to show you. Now, first off, let me go to the screen share. I actually have the maps all loaded up, or sort of loaded up. Come on. There we go. Okay. Okay. Let me introduce you to the lovely coastline, the southern coast of Spain, and the northern coast of Morocco.
Which looks nothing like it did when I lived there.
Which looks nothing like this. This was absolutely fucking astounding to me. To the point I actually ran into Lisa's bedroom and was like, Lisa, oh my fucking God, you have to see this. You're going to lose your shit. Someone pointed, it was a video on something else. So what caught my attention at first was, and I'll zoom this out, and it was over a 2-day period. Nick had seen a video. We really got to zoom out here. Nick had watched a video that was an artistic representation of the Earth with the sun setting over it or coming up behind it. And because it was kind of like a very artistic, we were like, what landmass is that? I'm like, well, I think that's supposed to be Africa and Europe, but it doesn't look right. Didn't think anything of it because it's an artistic representation, right? The next day, something comes up and there's a map involved. And I look at it and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I just want to point out, there's now a giant bite out of the side of Europe between France and Spain. A massive bite. Not in my reality. So this caught my attention right off the hop. I'm like, what is going on? And I started looking closely. So the first bit I'm going to show you is, again, we're going to go to Africa, North Africa, and Spain. So this is the Rock of Gibraltar. Now, if anyone knows history, the Rock of Gibraltar has been held by every empire for the last, 3,000 years. Because, and the excuse is, the reason why every invading army took over the Rock of Gibraltar is because it held a vitally important position at the very tip, the headway of the Straits of Gibraltar, i.e. anyone trying to get in or out of the Mediterranean Sea from the Atlantic had to go right by the Rock of Gibraltar. Now, the Rock of Gibraltar was supposed to be this massively significant position that it held. Except now, I'm going to have to turn that little, hold on guys, just give me a second to close that. No, close it. There we go. If you look at the Rock of Gibraltar now, it's not even in the main headway anymore. The Rock of Gibraltar used to be down here, i.e. right at the point where all ships would have to go by Gibraltar. Now Gibraltar is this little teeny frickin' inlet up here on the coast. Next thing I'm looking at the actual coast of Morocco. Where have I been for the last 3.5 years? Oh, on the northern coast of Morocco. This is not what the northern coast of Morocco looks like. Not even slightly.
Not in your reality.
Not in my reality.
Or mine.
Or in hers. Or in anyone who's with us in Morocco anyway. In this reality. Ha 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 ha. Let's play that game. Tangier down here. You take a boat from Tangier to right across here is Tarifa, Spain. This boat ride takes 45 minutes. It is exactly 7 kilometers between Tangier and Tarifa, Spain. We know this because it's a fact. This is something everyone tells you. It's 7 kilometers. You can actually, on a clear day, stand on the port of Tangier and wave to the people in Spain. It's that freaking close. You could count boats in their harbor. It's that close. Now, they're saying that between Tangier and Tarifa, which is now apparently way the fuck over here.
But Tangier's lower as well.
32 kilometers between the two of them. No. Not in my reality. As I said, you just take the boat. It would, directly from Tangier, directly across to Tarifa. There is now a rock. Now, you've been to Tarifa, so I know you'll understand this. There is now a rock out in front of Tarifa. Hold on, sorry, guys. That sure as fuck, that island, rock, was never fucking there when we used to make, the boat goes right by it. There's no fucking island there. There's no little peninsula rock sticking out in the water. Doesn't exist, never did exist, and I have made this trip myself several times on the ferry going back and forth between Tangier and Tarifa.
But that whole top of Morocco is wrong.
It's showing it basically like this. No, darling. It used to be like this. Tangier was the closest point to Spain. Tangier was the closest point to Spain. Basically, it was this. If you take all of this, shift it westward so that Tarifa is somewhere over here, and raise Tangier up to about here, and then it comes almost straight across to Ceuta, and then it slopes away. But even the slope away, we said ourselves, it doesn't slope away this steeply.
No,
it slopes. Oh, well, I'm sorry. It slopes away like
more
this.
at an angle that way.
Yeah, it's just kind of like this. It's more of a gentle angle. When we zoom out, and I looked at and started really looking, this entire north coast of Africa is completely changed.
Yep.
The north coast of Africa does not swish that far up. Tunis is not directly opposite Sicily. And if you really want, all my Italian friends out there, take a look at the size of Corsica and Sardinia now. Corsica and Sardinia, these islands right here, are not that fucking big. Nowhere even close to that big.
And when did that get so close to the boot?
Well, and this is it. The boot is now kicking Sicily instead of Sicily kind of hanging off the boot. Tunis is directly opposite Marsala, which is just blows my fucking mind. All of this. So I went and I started looking out, and I went over and I had a couple of days, and I had everyone. I said, go look at the places that you know. So I went up and I pulled up good old Ontario, and I pulled up Toronto. And I called Nick over and I was like, Nick, you better come and take a look at this. This is Lake Ontario. This is Lake Erie. This is Niagara Falls right in between. And now all of a sudden, there's this much distance between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. And Nick and I used to live in Niagara Falls, literally, when, yeah, no, they're not that far apart. Niagara Falls is kind of smack dab, and they almost touch. The lakes literally almost touch, which is why Niagara Falls is so powerful as a hydro source, why the falls are so big. They almost touch. Now we have this, like, they're all separated by this much. Someone else, I'm sorry guys, I have to kind of keep zooming in and out. It just makes it a little easier. A friend of mine in Alaska was like, what the fuck with Alaska? First of all, if you notice, how come Alaska is now almost the size of the United States? There's Alaska. There's the United States. Since when has Alaska become almost the size of the entire United States? Several friends of mine in Alaska were like, I don't recognize those islands. Where the fuck did those islands come from? And then, I mean, I talked about this a little, various islands over and around here. And they specifically, I can't remember specifically what names, but there were several, they were like, I've never heard of this island. I've lived in Alaska my entire life.
The seed bank place.
Okay, I'll get to that too. This one here, this is off of Russia. This, to my memory, has always been an island. And now all of a sudden it's attached by a land bar. Go over here. Now, we've talked about the whole Greenland thing a lot. We have looked at this map a lot to do with Greenland, because how did Greenland get to be that freaking big? Okay, there's Greenland. Ginormous, ridiculous, as big, if not bigger than all of Canada, perhaps bigger than Canada and the US put together, really. And now you have this island right here. This is Svalbard, which is where the seed bank, the Arctic seed bank is. Now, if you guys remember on the shows, we did the whole Greenland thing. All of us, you remember when we looked on the show and we're pulling out all these pictures of around Greenland. 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. Svalbard was not that big, and it was not attached, but it was an island off of Norway, somewhere down here, not up in the middle of nowhere in the Arctic. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to put my sweater on because now all of a sudden it's raining and cloudy again. And then finally, last but not least, I have a friend over on the weekend who is flying from Japan to Vancouver. And he says to me, oh, well, it won't be that bad. It's only an 8-hour flight. And I went, what? And I talked to Nick, you were here for the discussion of, like, have planes in the last 10, 15 years dramatically started flying faster so that their flight times are shorter? And we went through the whole things in blah, 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 blah. It now takes 8 hours and 15 odd minutes or something to fly from Japan to Vancouver, Canada. Now, I've never made the flight myself, But my cousin used to make it all the time. And I know that even though she would do like a 3-hour or 4-hour stopover in Hawaii, that flight was like a 22-hour flight to go from Vancouver to Japan. It wasn't a little 8-hour hopper flight. It wasn't a little 8-hour hopper flight. Everything looks different. The maps don't look the same. More and more that we look at it, more and more stuff is coming up. And we're like, how is this happening? And look at this. Alaska is the size of the United States. I don't know. Pretty sure that all my Alaskan friends will concur and say, no, Alaska's not that fucking big.
Sorry, I'm just going to try and catch up with chat because you guys are 160 odd messages.
The chat's 167 odd messages ahead of us again. Again, though, someone brought up, again, the map of Australia and said, look at where Australia, New Zealand, and Tasmania is. I took it to Lisa and said, tell me. And she just did the same thing of like, why is it so far away? Like, Australia and like New Zealand is like way the hell. And yeah.
Someone's making a joke. Installed an incompatible plug-in. Lisa knows what that'll do.
Yeah. Ha, ha, ha. But Maurice, here's the thing, though. It's not just bad map making. It's not the matter of you say, okay, it's Google, i.e. the government, the bad guys, are changing the maps to trick us somehow. These are supposed to be based on satellite maps. You can flip this over from here and go to the whole satellite version of it that is supposed to be, if you believe in satellites, I'm not entirely sure that I do, but it's supposed to be a satellite map. If they're talking about all these changes now, physical changes. If I go to Tangier tomorrow and was to go and fly in and then take the boat from Tangier to Tarifa, is it now 32 kilometers apart instead of 7?
Well, so, and just the question there, Lisa, do you mean that reality as we know it is being corrected? And that's, yeah, in a way, yes, because physical reality has changed. It's not just the digital world. It's not just the online world.
Exactly. It's physical
reality.
People
who have had a Bible in their home and in their family for years and know it word for word or know certain sections of it. No, but the book itself has changed. The wording in the book has changed. People who have album covers that they've had since they were
concert
kids.
tickets.
Concert tickets,
Sorry,
books. The physical world is changing, and people who have been dead are not dead.
6 reports in the last 2 weeks. At least 6 people I know of in the last 2 weeks have either dropped a message and sent us messages about someone they know has died. Know for a fact, and died not just recently, but has been
went
dead
to
for
their
like
funeral even
10, 15, 20 years ago, are now suddenly alive again.
It is as if it's an entirely different reality. It's an alternate reality. It's not. And, you know, I do anyway, keep playing with the idea of, is it merging or is it separating? It's like,
and that's what my question is. I'm wondering if it's not, instead of merging in, if it's not separating out. And if one is an overlay, think of it as kind of like we talked about the magnets, right?
Yeah.
If the one magnet is very, very powerful, it changes the magnetic field of the smaller, less powerful magnet. If there's an overlay that is being separated out now, then it would allow the original to start showing through, breaking through, leaking through. Mongolia is now huge. I know Mongolia is another one on the map. I went and looked it up. It's like, oh my God, Mongolia is as big as Canada.
Yeah, that's the other thing. The Arctic cap.
There's no land in the Arctic anymore. Well, we talked about that one last August. We talked about that one. There's no land in the Arctic anymore. Don't know where it went to. Apparently, the North Pole, Santa has a houseboat. The workshop is, on pontoons or something.
Well, the whole expanding Earth thing, some of it does sort of support that, because it looks on a recent map or satellite image, it looked like the distance between Australia and New Zealand. Already for me, New Zealand, if this is Australia, hang on, you're going to see it opposite to me because I'm doing it with my hands this way. Then New Zealand was about here. Like just about there.
Yep.
Now it's down here.
And yeah,
it's already shifted that way, but now it looks like it's even further out that way.
Way out in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of nowhere.
Although, I mean, I was there at Christmas. Flight times hadn't changed. It still took about the same amount of time to get there. If not...
Unless that change has happened since then. Unless that change has happened since then. And this is one of these things that I keep coming back. We don't even have the English language words to be able to put into words.
I know this. Been on a boat from Tarifa to Tangier. It took 45 minutes. Sailed right past Gibraltar and saw the monkeys on the rock.
Thank you, Amber. I love you. You're awesome. And that's why I said Gibraltar is not where it's supposed to be. Where they're saying Gibraltar is now, has no significant military value at all. None.
An expansion. They've installed an expansion pack.
But then, like I said, the flights from Japan to Canada have gotten smaller. So I'm almost wondering, is it a matter of like it's just a shift in this way? I.e., the one thing I said, the flight from Toronto to London, when I did a thing at London to Toronto, they was trying to tell me that to fly from London to Toronto was 8.5 hours. I'm like, no. You're telling me the flight from London to Toronto is as far apart as flying from Vancouver to fucking Japan? No. I remember I used to make the flight. I flew from Toronto to London so often it wasn't even funny. And it was basically like 5.5 hours in one direction, 6.5 hours in the other direction. So why are these things all shifted? Why is it they're saying flights to Toronto, London are longer?
Sorry, Jeff. After the show, you have to pick me and ask me what made me laugh. You gotta.
Okay, guys in the chat room, we have 200 messages behind. We're trying to catch up.
To take over a country or culture, the books of knowledge and the knowledge keepers are eliminated. So now it's electronic way to alter consciousness. So that this just validates that it's all about our consciousness.
And Terry, I'm not going to say you're wrong.
So can we manifest Unfucker Island? Is the
Unfucker Island. Everyone manifests it, but it's got to be somewhere warm.
Yeah, in the tropics.
Geologically safe. No winter.
Didn't Japan buy that island?
Evil. Yeah, didn't Japan buy that island? Yeah, that's the Kuril Island, and yeah, there's Japan and Russia are having a war over that kind of sorta. That's another one. But what you're saying about the difference between electronic records and physical records, what's the one thing we've seen in the last 2 years? Massive fires.
Yeah.
In all the places that hold documentation, the Russian Museum of Natural Science destroyed. The Abbey, the convent in Russia was full of old documents destroyed. New York City, New Jersey, all these places, massive document storage places are all being destroyed. Oh, please.
What?
We had a conversation a couple months ago about this. But everyone talks about trying to track back their family tree,
and they get
to a certain part, and then they find out, oh, there's no more documents because they were all destroyed in a fire.
That church burnt down.
Apparently, there seems to be a cycle of fires that comes through and burns down all the churches and government buildings that house documents. So that last one was like apparently in the 17 and 1800s. Or we're going to another one now where they're going to start burning down all, so no one in the future generations can refer back to beyond this point.
Oh, well, even we saw that even the hotel, what was it, the Marriott hotel chain, have got these beautiful artworks and photographs above in the rooms, it's decorating the rooms. And one of them is a photograph of the sky full of chemtrails.
Full of chemtrails. And there's no way to mistake it. They were fucking chemtrails.
Oh, yeah.
Dawn, the Pope just elevated Mary Magdalene? What? Links, please. Because that's a major one, too.
Puerto Rico used to be much closer to Venezuela.
I agree. And Cuba was not that fucking big.
Hawaii to LA was about 8 or 9 hours.
Exactly.
What? No.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
No.
Yes.
When you fly from Sydney to LA,
Yeah.
you pretty much go through Hawaii somewhere in the middle. It's a 12-hour flight.
Not
14-hour flight.
Didn't used to be. That's what I'm saying. I agree. Who was it who just said that? Elena. Yeah.
Total.
No,
Sydney
it
to
was
LA.
like 7-8 hours just to get to Hawaii from LA.
Nah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
No.
Yes.
Not in mine.
I know. Sorry, it isn't mine. And again, I'm only going by recollections of conversations I had 20 years ago with my cousin. Used to fly Japan to Hawaii, Japan to Vancouver all the time.
Okay, somebody from Australia, please. Have you ever done the flight from Sydney to LA, and how long did it take?
Jeff, how long did it take you to fly from Oregon to?
Hey, I'm bummed because I'm in the old timeline reality, because 6 months ago it took 21 hours, and next week it's going to take 21 hours.
Hang on, how much actual flight time? What?
It's the same flight.
Hang on, you get on board in Oregon and you fly directly to Brisbane?
No, to LA.
No, I go to SFO, to Sydney, to
San Francisco to Sydney.
How much is that? How long is that leg, the San Francisco to Sydney?
I don't know, I'd have to look. But
that's more than 14, then we are not on the same.
This is what
I don't know who you are anymore.
But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any logical sense. And the other one is I can remember friends of mine who would fly. Like, I'm trying to think of all the connecting flights when my friends were flying to Australia and what connector flights they used to do, because you used to do kind of like a hop, like you do almost like a 2-step hop where you do either Vancouver, SFO, or LAX to Hawaii, and from there you'd either go like Hawaii, Hong Kong, or Hawaii to Tokyo, etc. across.
The first time I went to the States was in 2012, right at the end of 2012 actually, leading up to the 21st of December, and I flew from Sydney to LA via Qantas on one of their big A320 Airbus things. And if it was either 12 or 14-hour flight direct, and from there I had to change and I go to Sacramento. But that part of the flight was no more than 14, and you go over. You almost wave over Hawaii on the way over.
Hold on, just shits and giggles.
And
you talk.
That was about just over the halfway mark on the way there. There would have been. Well, see, it depends if it was 12 or 14 hours.
Just give me a second. LAX to SYD. Don't care what date. Pick a fucking date. Doesn't fucking matter. One person, one way. Search now. Just give me a second. We're just going to play the game. We're going to do it direct flights only. Direct flights. What? What the hell is that? Do you see the prices?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm going to have to screen share this because I don't know what the fuck just happened. That's Los Angeles to Sydney.
That's departing on the 15th.
Like, randomly, I just picked the next bloody day. $555 to fly from LAX to Sydney.
Anybody want to jump on a plane tomorrow? Because it's really cheap.
Holy fuck. I've never seen the places that cheap. Never, ever. And I mean, Jeff, you know what I do for fun. Non-stop. Here we go. Pull it up. Non-stop. 15 hours, 15 minutes, it says. From LAX to Sydney, it says 15 hours, 15 minutes from LAX to Sydney.
What kind of airline? Oh, what kind of?
That's American Airlines.
What sort of plane?
Oh, here you go. Just hold on. I'll get you. Just hold on. I'll tell you.
Because the Airbuses probably go a bit faster, yeah?
Depends on the height. That's what Nick was saying, right? Doesn't tell you what it is.
It's a Boeing
Boeing
777.
777. Yeah.
So that would be 0.86, Mach 0.86.
0.86, which is the faster.
Or 86% of the speed of sound.
That's just bizarre.
And I will still put my hand up and say my flight took no more than 14.
And yet, Jeff just said it was like hours and hours, way more than that.
Well, he's got 21 hours, but he's going from Oregon. So he's got to do the whole Oregon to San Francisco thing. And then
Yeah, but, interesting, folks. Interesting.
Okay, now, would you stop talking, people? Because we've got nearly 300 messages to catch up on.
And that was the other one, too, the other flight that I went and checked. So I started checking the flying times for flights that I know that I used to take. So I used to fly Bangkok to Heathrow twice a year, 3 times a year. And it is 13 hours, 20 minutes. And now it's 11 hours. And it was the same thing. I was like, I know that that's wrong.
So there's a few people here feeling it's the whole separating thing as well. And this would buy into Dolores Cannon's splitting Earth business. I just gotta laugh at all this stuff. I mean, we're just...
How can you not?
There's been nothing that's felt... I don't know. We've also talked about it on the collective imagination shows. You just can't get that attached.
No.
Or entrenched.
No.
Or... And the big thing is you can't build your own sense of self
around these events.
Around this stuff. I mean, they say that we are our personality, our whole everything about us is actually just the accumulation of our memories and our experiences. So if they change, who are we? Right? People who have had accidents and have amnesia and don't remember anything, they can be completely different people because it's not based on the same experiences. I think it's teaching us, at least it feels like it is, because there's absolutely pointless in being otherwise, as far as I can tell, to not be attached to our perceived idea of who we are as a result of our experiences.
Well, it's kind of funny because that's the whole JFK thing. A year ago, if I'd seen that JFK thing, I'd have fucking lost my mind. I'd have been down the rabbit hole for like 2 days solid, pulling up every bit of film footage, researching, et cetera, et cetera. This time, when I think I spent 15 minutes on it, I went, oh my God, there's the film, there's the Zapruder, there's the TV stuff. Oh, fuck, that's changed. That's really wild. But there's no attachment to it. It's an indicator, but there's no attachment to it. It was the same thing even with the biblical stuff. I've been laughing my ass off going, I know they didn't use these words in the Bible, but there's no attachment to it because at this point, you just can't attach yourself to any of these memories because they're meaningless. If your reality can be switched at the drop of a dime, it all becomes rather, meaningless.
Okay, I can see a flip or a negative connotation to that concept too, because if it makes us detached from all of this because it's also interchangeable, it's not real, it's fucking virtual, and blah, blah, blah. That could be, even though I know I've had this conversation on the collective and said the opposite thing in terms of how I feel about it, but I can see how it could be used to get us less invested in the experience and not be proactive and not protest, not, be activists, not be all of that, because it doesn't matter. So I can see how it can be used and manipulated. However, to me, our experience here is what it's all about. But
what it's all about is just that it's a matrix of holograms that apparently are just interchangeable every day. Oh, I told you I found that article again, right? I talked about this, I think it was back when I was still in Morocco, I'm pretty sure we found the article. And it was an interview with a group of guys designing a video game. and it was going to be this video game where the universe basically self-creates itself through the play of the gamers, right? And that you could play basically forever and never repeat anything.
Magdalene got ranked as an apostle.
What? Okay, guys, I need a link. I need a link. If Mary Magdalene has just been named as an apostle.
Don't send it in this chat because we'll probably, we're in do, but also can you send it to Dee directly on Facebook because we'll lose it.
That would be one of those things that might make my head twig a little bit.
Is she apostle and not a prostitute? Or she's an apostle and a prostitute? Or
Prostitute.
She's no prostitute.
prostitute.
Nick, stop it. That was too funny. To get more girls to be prostitutes, they're gonna name her an apostle.
You can be a holy prostitute.
You can be a holy prostitute. You know, there's a lot of old religions where had holy prostitutes, you know. Nick,
You wrote that?
seriously?
You're making enough noise.
Shh. Quiet.
Everyone, again, losing attachments. Everyone I know is unhoming, unrelationshiping.
Unemploying,
Shipping.
unattaching.
Yeah. This is true. I'm holding on to my reality and be in my reality and without doubt. Doubt comes from double and thus duality or divide and conquer. Doubt is what separates. Yeah. Just observing it.
You know, just observing it. And that's exactly it. It's not about doubt. Because, I mean, a lot, like you say, the Luke, I am your father, no, I am your father. You go, wait, I kind of remember it both ways. But for me, I know it's any of these things that come up, these Mandela effects, it's my instantaneous reaction to them. No, that's not right. Or, yeah, I do remember that. Or not. It's not about doubt. Because I don't ever doubt. I sit there and go, oh, my God. It says there was only 4 people in JFK's car when he was killed.
Vatican City, June 10, 2016 at 9:57 a.m. CNA EWTN News. Faithful to the wish of Pope Francis, a new decree has bumped the liturgical celebration honouring St. Mary Magdalene from a memorial to a feast, putting her on par with the apostles. Mary elevated to apostle.
Oh, wow. The Feast of Mary Magdalene. I'm going to have to ask Moosh if Malta's adding a new feast day in there. They're going to have the Feast of Mary Magdalene. And is there a dress code for that? I mean, do the Catholic priests expect you to dress like a prostitute if they call her a prostitute still? Don't know. Just wondering.
Well, some have imagined Mary Magdalene as either a prostitute or the wife of Jesus. Western Christianity, since the time of St. Gregory the Great, has traditionally identified her with 3 women in the New Testament: the sinful woman who anoints Jesus' feet with fragrant oils and washes them with her tears, Mary of Magdala, and Mary, the sister of Lazarus, and Martha of Bethany.
Yeah.
Popey Poo been drinking too much unicorn piss. God, you guys come up with some good ones.
This is okay. There you go, a new one. This is our new MO, bringing up new ones that happen right there on the air. Here we go, guys, live, coming to you now.
Archbishop Roche hailed her as the apostle to the apostles.
The apostle to the apostles? A phrase coined by St. Thomas Aquinas? Yeah, no. What? Okay, I'm going to... Tom, I need links to that, please. I'm what? St. Thomas Aquinas never called Mary Magdalene the apostle to the apostles. Never.
Yes, Eva, we are living in a fucking circus. See, this Bible stuff doesn't get me the way it does Dee. Because she grew up on it. I didn't.
Yeah. But that's why we're perfectly balanced. Because I can look up all the scriptures and go, that's not what it fucking said. And she goes, that's just fucking
that doesn't even make sense.
Just doesn't even make sense. This shit don't make sense. St. Mary Magdalene, the Archbishop said, announces to the apostles what in turn they will announce to the whole world? Oh, okay. Hold. Sorry.
She sounds like the godfather of the apostles.
Oh, dude, this is actually pretty fucking major. Quiet, boys. So here comes all the kids running through. June 10th, 2016. I almost said 1916. That's funny. 2016. She is witness to the risen Christ, announces the message of the Lord's resurrection, just like the rest of the apostles. It is right that the liturgical celebration of this woman should have the same rank of feast as is given to the celebration of the apostles in the general Roman calendar. Holy crap! Calling Mary Magdalene an example and model for all women in the church, the Archbishop said she had a special mission to which the new rank of feast does justice. Wait, she had a special mission. What special mission did she have? This is a complete flip around of Catholic doctrine. Like, this is a massive
somebody
flip
who
over.
doesn't know. I know that.
This is like a massive change to Catholic doctrine. Oh, I know Catholic people who are going to just lose their fucking shit when this.
Okay, so are we now seeing the expansion from the Christian to the Catholic?
From the Christian
Did
to
not we
the
have
Catholic.
this conversation?
But this is.
No, remember?
No, I know. We
2 or
had
3
this
days
conversation.
ago.
I know.
Were you
I know.
talking about?
Oh,
Oh,
I know. But this is what I'm saying. This is very specific to the Catholic. You're right. I mean, now the evangelical, the Lutheran, the Protestant, Anglican, etc., they may not take this as groundbreaking as much because they tend to ignore a lot of that kind of sainthood type dogma of the Catholic Church. But this announcement is such a radical changeover in Catholic dogma that this, I mean, you have to understand that you're
this is
talking
not a Mandela
major
effect.
Christian.
This is them pronouncing now current, right?
I don't think it's a Mandela effect. And yet, holy shit, if you had said, take a guess at something, you know, like in January 2016, guess what Pope Francis would
Because it's not
announce this year?
for me to be a Mandela effect. We would have to find out that the Pope said this a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago. But this is happening now. So
I never
is
could have seen this
a
coming.
weird flip on the part of the church, but it doesn't qualify in my mind as a Mandela.
Well, because we don't know the background on it.
Not
This
yet,
might
yeah.
be something we
Sure.
have to look into the background. I don't think it is a Mandela effect in that traditional way either. I think it's just a new announcement. But holy shit, when we look at some of the shit of like changing of the Bible, et cetera, and this, wow. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, the Magdalene teachings are huge. Dawn, is the book of Mary Magdalene going to get released by the Catholic Church, do you think? Now, here's
And what's the other ones they're holding on to?
The
Fatima? No,
Okay, no.
the other thing I'm thinking of.
Ben gave me this one. This is a King James version, and it contains the Apocryphal, which has the book of Mary Magdalene in it. So I went looking, and I've lost the link now. I couldn't find it. I'm sure I could find it. Someone remind me to try and dig it up. That was an examination of 7 of the major Bibles right now, and it was a look at all 7 of them. And of course, the big one, the big boy of them was always the King James version. The Apocryphal was included in all Bibles up until just the last couple hundred years. Even early King James versions of the Bible contained the Apocryphal. And it's only been in the last, really, something like 250, 300 years that those books have been completely removed from the Bible. So you got to wonder.
Okay, so the question that's sort of coming up in the chat room is this the correction of the status of the feminine, or is it more corruption of the feminine?
That's not the one with the Apocryphal. Where's the one with the Apocryphal? No, it's the King James too. Damn, I've got only the King James versions here. I do have a copy with the Apocryphal, and I think it's in my room. It's always been said that the Vatican holds all these books in the Bible that were deliberately taken out The Vatican's got good copies. You know the Vatican has copies. So are they going to add those books back in? The Book of Mary Magdalene? Because that would be a major fucking shakeup in the entire Christian faith if that was added back to the Bible.
Okay. For those of you who think this may be the more corruption or more subversion of the feminine, how does elevating Mary do that? The Apocrypha is poo-pooed by the Protestant faith.
And yet, it was in the Protestant Bible up until like 200 years ago.
Oh, nice message, Bay. What I find interesting is that I received a message from my guidance in the late 1990s saying, "Are you ready to forget about everything you've ever known?" I think I'm starting to understand what that message now. Yeah, no shit.
No shit.
So something is attacking the belief and assumption on the Draco Bible, of the Draco Bible?
I don't know. This is one of those things. I mean, we had the conversation too because we talked about it last week. We talked about the other religious holy books. So the Quran, the Torah, and if we could all kind of sort of reach out to anyone we notice if they're noticing any changes in their holy books. And of course, we've talked about the whole Wahhabist changes, the Wahhabist Sharia type changes that have been put in the Quran, which are not there. And like I said, I talked to multiple
are they actually
Muslim
being
people
put into the Quran, or are they official Wahhabist Quran?
I can't read it because it's Arabic, so I don't know.
Okay.
But basically, I mean, everyone I spoke to in Morocco ever got into this conversation of the Quran, we're like, that's not part of the Quran. Muhammad never said that. Ever. So, is it Wahhabist changeovers? Where they're deliberately freaking editing and changing things?
That's not what's going on.
Or is it
Because
Mandela
it's
Effects
retroactive. Oh, you're talking about the Catholic thing.
No, I'm talking about the Quran stuff. I don't know anything about the Torah. I haven't got any contacts in that way that could tell me anything about the Hebrew Torah or the Bhagavad Gita. I can't speak. I'm not Englishing today. I'm just going to sit in the corner. Stop talking.
The Pope smiling is a bit like Satan saying, "Have a nice day." Yep, for some people, unicorns have always been in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And when I went looking on this, I found clips from the 70s and 80s
of shows
and people discussing the unicorns in the Bible. So for me, that will belong to a whole other reality, not mine.
Definitely.
I mean, the one I come from, the Christians believe that there were no such things as dinosaurs. That's all a fraud. Because
not all Christians. That's the serious hardcore.
Yes, those who think that the whole thing's only 6,000 years old and there was no dinosaurs. And if there was unicorns involved, you can bet if they'd have been mentioned. So no, I've never heard of unicorns in the Bible. I've never heard of unicorns being anything other than a mythological creature that was. It's in not even there. Didn't even have the same potentially historical significance as dragons.
No,
who are also supposedly mythological creatures, but
they're mentioned in the Bible all the time.
Yeah,
or at least in Revelations, anyway.
But not unicorns.
So what if you want to talk about, because this came up, someone talked about the fact that Christianity is the largest religion in the world by population, right? If you prove to the largest religious group in the world that their holy book is completely fallible, to the point of this, let's even ignore the Mandela effect. Just the various basis of us pulling out all these Bibles and showing the different translations, the different wording, and the actual changing of meanings, i.e. forgive us our trespasses versus forgive us our debts, changes the entire message. Could that just be what it is? Literally, it's like, let's tear down this book so that everyone doubts it. If it's almost like a spotlight to show just how flawed the book is, that every single one, there's all of these translations and that they're all fucked up.
None of that explains how the physical books have changed.
Oh, no, well, I know. That, as I said, let's just suspend our disbelief. That's all I was saying.
I can't you can't suspend that, though.
I know.
It's not like they just put out a new edition and changed everything in that edition.
No, I agree. I completely agree.
There's more to it.
Like I said, who was it? One of the ladies in Unfuckers was at her grandmother's, pulled up the family Bible. It was like 80-year-old family Bible, and looked up all the changes in the family Bible. Like, forgive us our debts.
We've had people who've still got Bibles in the family from the 1800s, the 1700s, and they now say piss and unicorns and stuff and debts and Easter and
forgive us our debts.
Stuff that 5 generations of this family know wasn't in there.
Yeah.
What's going on now? Maury, what did you say? We are living a sci-fi. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just, well...
The dinosaurs died off from the unicorn parts.
That's right. That's how it was. The unicorns killed all the dinosaurs. I just need to check something really quick.
Passive unicorn rainbow fart inhalation is not good for you.
There was something else I wanted to pull up. You want to talk about that? Because that was fucking just so freaking hysterical. What was the other one? And this as well.
And that. Okay,
first one, guys, I got one. We're just going to change the topic just for a little bit because, let's face it, all our brains are probably pretty much fried on this one as it is anyway. I'm going to share your screen. Let's throw this out there because, if we really want to talk about fuck-uppedness, let's talk fuck-uppedness. We have a letter from Obama. Oh, crap. It just flipped on me. Damn it. I'm going to have to go find it.
Are you sure you didn't just change?
No, let me see. There we go. Letter from Obama, released by the White House. This is the official White House website, fully confirmed, May 26, 2016. Letter from Obama, space report. Dear Mr. Chairman, dear Senator, dear Representative, I transmit herewith, in accordance to Section 1613 of the National Defense Authorization Act for the fiscal year of 2016, Public Law 11492, the report and classified annex on an integrated policy to deter adversaries in space. The report is the result of an interagency process with the objectives to reduce risk to the United States and our allies in space. There's no comma. To reduce the risk to the United States and our allies in space, and to protect and preserve the rights, access, capabilities, use, and freedom of action of the United States in space. Success will require a multi-year effort and a commitment all across all departments and agencies, and I look forward to your continued support. Needless to say, we had quite the discussion in this house about that one sentence. The objective is to reduce the risk to the United States and our allies in space, semicolon. There's no comma in there. And our allies, comma, in space. No. It's all one sentence.
Well, that's the thing, Jed. That's the way it's written, the pronunciation, the what do you call it?
It's rather ambiguous.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Terminology?
No. The punctuation. Jesus. Is very ambiguous. To say the least.
Very, very ambiguous.
The report is the result of an interagency process with the objectives to reduce risks to the United States and our allies in space.
And our allies in space. Reads as, there is no comma in there. And our allies, comma, in space. No.
What allies, anyway?
Yeah, what? And which allies? Now,
who are the U.S.'s allies in space?
Well, technically, globally, we're talking Russia.
That's the funny thing.
Because
it's only in space are those two considered allies?
Exactly.
Not here on terra firma.
Which is hysterical. I mean, I've been taking the piss out of the Soyuz rocket program for 2 fucking years. Because here the U.S. has got all these sanctions against Russia. No one else is allowed to have any dealings with Russia, but we're going to buy a Soyuz rockets from the Russians and have the Russians send all our astronauts into space because we can't do it ourselves apparently anymore. Okay, so Russia technically could be claimed as their allies in space. Yes, absolutely. China's got their own rocket program now. Europe, the European Union has got their own. Japan, even India's got its own rocket program, space program. So is that allies in space? Or
They're allies in space.
Are our allies in space? And like I said, I just found it very, Elon Musk is a space program as well. You got it. SpaceX, absolutely. But this little teeny written piece.
You got to remember that there are teams who write this shit.
Exactly.
This is not Obama just scribbling something down on the back of a napkin. This was a team.
Yeah.
And this little, as short as it is, would have been
days to write, probably,
if not weeks. And it got vetoed by so many people.
Every word is checked.
If it comes out ambiguous, it was meant to be ambiguous. And it was what?
The new Space Act back in November, the new commercialization of space, because that's what it was. It was like basically UCC law planted in outer space for the commercialization of space, and it was completely freaking bizarre. But again, there was even shit in that one that was very ambiguous as to what exactly is it that you're trying to say. I'm not sure.
There's a few people commenting that they don't think he's planning on leaving. That's certainly one of the theories out there.
One of the theories on the table to be discussed anyways, or at least to watch.
Apparently the page isn't there now.
What?
White House well, no, Dee just brought it up again this morning.
No, I brought it fresh this morning. I just brought it up. So it's there. It's not press. You go to the briefing room statements and releases, and you got to scroll back to May 26th.
The only way you can stay on is if there's a huge crisis. Well, they've only just set all the groundwork for that too. Some of the latest.
What was one of the things that you and I just talked about?
I'm just trying to think what it was.
Disaster, like if they wouldn't have to pay back their debt. That was the conversation we had. There'd be some kind of clause in their national debt payback scheme to China. Because if it was a national disaster, they wouldn't have to make those payments.
There was something about the definition of war. And the definition of war is the something of your debtors.
Ben was talking about, he's not here right now.
Basically, from what we understood, from what we read and heard, was that in order to go to war, first you have to either claim delinquent. You either have to claim that you have
there's a delinquent debt.
A delinquent debt to you, and war is actually the way that you can
solution
reclaim that debt. Or if you are the one, if you're the country in debt, then you can go to war in order to nullify the debt. Right? So it's all about debt.
Forgive us our debts as we forgive those who are debtors. Yeah, forgive us our debts.
So just the act of declaring war, basically, it's like you saying to a debt collector that's coming to you, show me the paperwork, show me the signature, prove it, and show me the contract. Legally, it kind of puts a stop on things. Once someone has made a claim like that, whether it's you saying, where's the proof? No action can be taken until the proof is provided, right? Technically, that's how it's supposed to how it works. And the act of war is kind of like the same thing. Or unless you can, unless you're the one that's owed, and the act of war is like I'm claiming a delinquent debt.
Hmm.
And there was a provision. Oh, man, what was it?
It's
This
going
is
to drive me
nuts.
nuts. I can't remember what document it was, but we just had discussed this about 3 days ago.
And it's the whole-
we hypothesized that there would obviously be a provision with the American debt to China, a provision in that financial instrument.
Sorry, we weren't planning on
if-
talking about this today, so we didn't.
That if there was some kind of a disaster in a major disaster in the United States, that debt would be moved forward. They wouldn't have to pay their debt at that moment. China wouldn't hold them. That if they had to rebuild the entire country, that they could kind of push off the repayment of that debt.
Oh, yeah. So in in the situation of a natural disaster or something like that, it's like all debt repayments are frozen so that the country can, repair itself.
So I have a quick question. Are you guys in the States? The
New Madrid, Yellowstone, anybody?
Yeah, San Andreas, pick one, anyone. The food stamp cards, the acronym's just gone right out of my head now for food stamps in the States. Have they actually, has that been sorted out now? EBT, the EBT cards. Because I read an article that was the 9th or 10th of June, and there was a massive amount of those cards that had not been loaded.
Oklahoma.
12
Kansas received as normal.
Okay, 12. Okay, now this is really interesting, and the reason I want to look at this is because we have an article. I'm not going to pull it up, but I will publish it with this, but I will just read it out to you guys. This came up, and you guys probably all saw this on Facebook. Is it this one? Oklahoma cops unveil a new device enabling direct seizure of bank accounts, credit cards. This is on Zero Hedge. That basically, stay out of Oklahoma for love nor money. Don't go there, because the police now have a device that allows them to electronically take over and steal all your money out of your bank accounts
on the spot, on the
side of the road. This proof.
They take your wallet, they zip your cards, and clean out your account.
This isn't kind of like hearsay stuff. Now, we had. I'm pretty sure I know exactly where it is too. If you give me a second, I can pull it up. There it is, right there. Okay, guys, this was a letter. You guys will remember this in the Unfuckers room. This was a letter that was posted by one of the ladies in the Unfuckers room back in, was it April? It was in April. Due to the state of Oklahoma's 2 revenue failures, the Department of Human Services is experiencing budget shortfalls for the current fiscal year through to June 30th, 2016. Because of the shortfall, we have made the difficult decision to postpone all state supplemental payments until July 1st, 2016. This means that the SSP payments you would have received in the months of April, May, and June are being held, and the money will be posted to your MasterCard or deposited to your bank account on July 1st. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is major, because we know that a lot of these states are going bankrupt.
Wasn't there also a bank the other day that no one can get money out for like 5 days?
Deutsche Bank in New York City, no one can get money out of the bank machines for 5 days.
They said they'd be back online on Monday.
Glitches, that's right. They were saying, oh, we have these glitches. Pardon us, in our computer glitches on every... Kira, hey, Ham, go inside. Just turn around and go to the room. Ham, sorry, the kookaburra. Kira just walked out with some peanut butter toast, and the kookaburra immediately tried to come and steal it from her because he's a jackass. That way. The banking glitches have been ongoing, and I've been hypothesizing about this for 6 months, that they're doing the game of borrowing from one account to another account to be able to try and make payments on various things. So you do the money shuffle. When you have a massive amount of EBT cards not getting funded, we have to remember that each municipality and each state is its own corporation. We all like to think federal, but at the United States of America, but each municipality, each county, each state is its own corporation. So because everyone in Kansas got their EBT cards, basically just means that Kansas is more solvent than perhaps Oklahoma is. But when I saw Oklahoma police now being able to pull money right out of your accounts, we had warnings in Canada a couple of years ago, don't travel through Detroit, because police were stopping people on the side of the road and taking their money. That was by the Canadian government who put out that warning. Don't go through fucking Detroit. The police will steal your money. Why is this? We know that the whole parking tickets, traffic tickets, all this shit is, they've got a quota. They have to make this money because it's how they're supporting themselves. This is how the corporation is, that corporation of the police department is actually financially supporting itself.
At a hefty profit.
At a very hefty profit. So if all of a sudden you have Oklahoma piss ass broke, not able to pay all these different things, and now you have the Oklahoma police dabbing money out of everyone's accounts? Wait a second. So we're talking massive fiscal failure. It's kind of interesting. End of June, July, August, September. That's the last quarter of 2016 fiscal year. Going to be interesting. Why would they have no money in April, May, June, but they think they're going to have money for the last quarter? Is that why they're raiding everyone's bank accounts to try and build up some money so that they can pay off everyone? Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, I don't keep money in the bank.
No. Fuck you, PayPal.
And Australian immigration.
And Australian immigration, fuck you too. I hope one of you politicians is watching this. Fucktards. But we're not going to talk about that. Never mind.
There may or may not be a show next week. Unfortunately, we will see what happens.
We'll see what happens, guys. We're working. Trying to. So I've gone to like Twitter now. I actually.
No, well, maybe this is a good idea.
Well, no, my Twitter account. I haven't used my Twitter account in years. As a matter of fact, I forgot I even had one until I typed in to actually make a new Twitter account and use my old email address. And they were like, "There's already one for this email address." Oh, okay, good. I'll use that one. Figuring if you start tweeting messages to these politicians, it's public. I mean, anyone who's.
So for those who don't know, Dani and her family's visas were denied.
And we're being kicked out.
They're being kicked out as of next week.
It is the 14th now. Technically, I have to be out by the 21st. The rest of the family has to be out by the 26th, I think, depending, because that's how the visa applications went in. It's all a clusterfuck. We did everything according to their rules. We applied according to their rules, applied for the visa that they told us. Three separate immigration people told us to apply for this specific, because there's like fucking 50 different visas that you can apply for. 3 different immigration guys told us to apply for this one visa, and we were denied. Quiet, dude. And it was $2,000. It was over $2,000 for us to put in the application for the visas, which we don't get back, by the way. And the only way we can ask for a reassessment, they wouldn't even let me talk to a manager. Like, you cannot speak to anyone to say, hey, wait, do you not understand? You told us to apply for this, and now you're telling us that we applied for the wrong visa? Which is basically what it comes down to. They're telling us we applied for the wrong visa. No one to speak to. We have to go to a tribunal, and according to immigration, it's $1,683 per person, which for a family of 6 is like just a little over $10,000, just to have the tribunal hear your story. And there's no guarantee that you win. And if you do win, you only get 50% of that money back. Extortion. It literally is full on extortion. You can't talk to anyone. There's no way to actually physically speak to anyone unless you're going to pay this $1,683 a person. That's it. And then you don't even get to speak to a person. You just basically send them your documents, and they go through another rubber stamp process.
So So if you'd like to do something, there is an article on removing the shackles that Dee wrote about the story, and a list of politicians that she's sent this letter to, and a list of media outlets. And she's had absolutely zero response.
Not from media or the politicians.
Anyone. So we're doing things like going to their Twitter accounts, their Facebook pages.
Yep. Posting on the Twitter accounts and the Facebook pages. I'll actually add that in at the end of the show. I'll actually add those Twitter and Facebook things to the article so people can...
Yeah, the Canadian Embassy apparently Dee's had experience with in the past, and they are useless.
I want you to understand something. If you're ever traveling anywhere in the world and you think that your embassy for whatever country you were supposedly be from is going to help you, they will not help you in any situation, because embassies are foreign trade and policy. That's all they do. I have been traveling for 25 years. I have had to deal with the Canadian Embassy for emergency situations. One I talked about in the Congo, when the Congolese government was holding Nick hostage, literally hostage, and wouldn't let his passport go until he paid $500 cash under the table. I went to the Canadian Embassy, and they were like, we can't help you. What? No, nothing we can do about it. When I had all my ID, my passport, my money, and everything stolen when I was in Thailand, and I went to the Canadian Embassy, they basically were like, so, what do you want us to do about it? Your embassy does jack shit. The embassies are not for the people, they are for the corporations. They are nothing more than corporate foreign trade entities. All they do is regulate trade between countries and political. That's it. So, no, I'm not going to go to the Canadian Embassy because they're useless as tits on a bowl. And I have that through all over the world, every Canadian embassy I've ever dealt with. Jules, yeah, we could have gone. Listen, the visa that we came in from is a 1-year visa, but you can only stay for 3 months. So you can stay for 3 months, leave, and come right back and automatically get another 3 months. And if we had known that, perhaps we could have done exactly that, gone to New Zealand and come back, and we would have automatically had another 3 months. But we spent $2,000 applying for the visa. And the moment you apply for that visa, your visa that you came in under is now void and null. So we don't even have that as an option now. So we have to leave Australia. We have no idea. We have no idea. There is something on the table that another friend of ours is trying to work through.
It puts them back in the EU.
Puts us back in the EU again. But this time, Nick would have a job and a work permit and the whole bit, so we wouldn't have to be doing visa jumping. We still have to get there. And the day after I applied for my visa, because I was the first one to put the application in for here in Australia, the very day after, my PayPal was closed down and locked out and put on limitation. And it took me 9 days, 7 phone calls between calling PayPal Australia and calling PayPal Canada. I called PayPal Australia. Oh, by the way, just so you guys know, in Australia, PayPal Australia is actually an American corporation and is run out of the United States. So when they try to tell you we only deal with Australia, no, they're not even in Australia. They're in America. Apparently, they think people are too stupid to notice that all their call center people have American accents. Just saying. I talked to the Australian PayPal. I could get into my account. It was limitations on the account, so I couldn't move money around, but I could at least sign into my account. 5 minutes after I got off the phone with PayPal Australia, my account was locked down. I couldn't access my account at all anymore. After multiple phone calls to Canada, PayPal Canada, because that's, of course, where my PayPal was originally registered, they finally allowed me, and the excuse was, well, it was a security. We noticed that your account had been accessed from another part of the world. So we had, for security reasons, we had to lock it down. Really? I've been in that other part of the world for 3 months. I've been using my PayPal account, And it took 3 months for your security system to figure out that I was in another part of the world. After I just talked to PayPal Australia and explained the entire situation, that I was visiting Australia, and then you locked me out. So needless to say, I still don't even have access to my PayPal account. Long and short of it, PayPal is being fucktards, and they won't. They want documentation. We can't figure out what documentation they want because they refuse to tell me what documentation, but they won't take the limitations off my account until I provide the documentation that they won't tell me what they need.
So that's the situation.
Yeah. Therein is the situation in a nutshell.
Okay. Where are we? What time is it?
We have 8
really?
minutes. I don't know how that happened.
Okay, that was a really quick 2 hours, guys. Bottom line. You can't hold on to anything.
No.
Tomorrow it's going to be different again.
Kind of like this weather.
Kind of like this weather. We are seeing, speaking of that, we have seen the most bizarre things I've never seen in my life in terms of cloud activity, formation, colours in the sky, sun, moon, shit. I mean,
there's winter storms raging all over South America right now. The coldest weather, minus 18 degrees in Brazil.
In Brazil.
They're supposed to be having the Olympics there?
We've had areas. I remember times where there's been floodings in multiple countries at the same time.
Yeah. Right now, the entire planet.
Though, it's the whole planet, and it doesn't make sense. The whole planet. And I'm not saying this is why, I'm just saying the only thing that I've heard so far as to any kind of explanation has actually come from the Yellow Rose for Texas camp. Because Rose said back in 2013, I think, that there would be a huge wet down before the shift, that the whole planet would be flooded. And
it is right now.
It actually happens to be right now.
There's every continent of the planet, every continent in the world right now.
The mainstream explanation is that they just keep making up words and trying to bombogenesis
and water spout bombs.
and trying to tell us that this shit goes on all the time.
Oh yeah,
it's all normal.
Lightning without clouds. Lightning without clouds.
Lightning not only without clouds, but without noise, without sound, without rain, without just lightning. Just lightning. All by itself.
Bizarre fucking lightning.
You wouldn't even call it a normal electrical storm. It's not just that.
No.
It's that video footage that we saw that showed all the lightning coming up from the ground. Yeah. Admittedly, that could be a video that somebody just reversed. And no, that's possible.
We got the one picture I posted on Facebook that's got the light. There's a rainbow and a lightning strike going sideways. And I know rainbows are supposed to be an optical illusion. I get it. I swear to God, it looks like the lightning is striking the rainbow to the point of there's actually the lightning forks and then a very clear singular dot of like a massive spark inside the rainbow. It's like fucked. Totally fucked. It's bizarre shit.
That looked like the rainbow itself was actually a physical glass dome that light was reflecting off. And it was being hit. That's what it looked like. Walternet turned on his machine.
Well, I know, Anna. I mean, Texas is just soaked. But it's not just, I mean, it's everywhere. Everywhere. China, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, Tasmania got flooded out.
Did it?
Yeah, to me, it was a week and a half ago. Tasmania got really hit with a really bad storm right after they did cloud seeding to bring some rain.
Of course, yes.
The government is being questioned as to why there was cloud seeding done.
The day before, a forecasted storm.
A forecasted storm. It was so bad, it flooded massive areas of Tasmania. Oops. Someone's fired.
So we'll see you hopefully next week. That is all up in the air for now.
Okay, so we have to talk about that too.
Cern
I
Happy
forgot
Dance.
about that. Yes. So someone, I will post the video along with this video. I've got the still shots. I don't fucking pull them up right now. You know the song Happy, and there's been hundreds and hundreds of people have made videos using the song. It just shows them everyone have it happy.
'Cause I'm happy.
Yeah, and they're everyone dancing. First of all, no one in Cern can dance. They will never be asked to be on Dancing with the Stars. Number one. Number two, there is, as they're flipping through all these pieces of Cern, there's a guy sitting in an office, and he has two signs hung around his neck, written on cardboard with a magic marker. One says Bond 1, no idea what that means. And right underneath it is a big cardboard sign that says Mandela.
And he's wearing a T-shirt that's covered in mathematical equations.
Yeah. So hold on, I will pull up that picture because here, hold on, let me find it first. Like this is one of those things where you just what? No, there's just no way. There it is. And I will pull up the other one as well. Okay, guys, give me a second. I will show them to you. Okay, so here's the first one. You can see there's the guy, and this is a cut right out of the video, and you can see he's got Bond number 1, and he said, "We are happy at Cern," and then underneath it, you can see it says Mandela. Okay, then you get to the second one. So I pulled it back, and you can see it even more clearly. It says Mandela, not Mandala, as in like sand mandalas and crystal mandalas. No, Mandela. And he's wearing a T-shirt that is covered in, like Lisa said, some kind of mathematical stuff, equations.
Okay, I don't know whether we talked about this or whether it was just a discussion that happened in the Facebook group. I think we did. But that what if moment that I had where I said, what if they knew that we were on a negative timeline and there are some good guys, some white hats, some whatever.
We discussed that last week, didn't we? I think we discussed this on the roundtable last week.
And perhaps Cern is trying to pull us into a positive timeline. And why would you have...
And then we talked about the Valiant stuff.
Yeah.
With the oops. We
oops.
tried to fix something, and we thought we were fixing it, and we made it worse. And now we have to fix it, but it's going to get real bad. I don't know. If we had Cern on our side, that would be refreshing. Oh, too funny.
I'm in a place where it's like I've got to consider that absolutely anything is possible, including the complete opposite of what I would think would be possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you gotta click the video over here. Not there. Oh, nope.
No, what are you talking
There.
about? I did.
It's okay, Jeff's got it. Thank you, Jeff.
I can't do a PC anyway.
I know.
There was nothing sinister about that old boy. He looked like, he looked like someone's grandfather, and he actually looked like someone who would be sitting around smoking a joint. And
there's been a lot of people who've said
really starting to go, oh my God, if you times that by that and equal that by, that's what he looks like.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't know. And all these stupid kids, these students at Cern, doing this silly happy dance. I mean, maybe they had no clue what they were doing.
Yeah, well, of course.
Or why. But
I've already
if they're seeing the Mandela Effect as the symptoms of something positive, I mean, we've seen some weird shit like with the whole Shiva dance and all that crap. I mean, that was...
And Switzerland's whole tunnel opening thing, I actually got a chance to look at the full video, and the little clip, the 4-minute clip of that tunnel opening ceremony, it was bad enough. You watch the whole video, they were just unbelievable. Oh, there's a little, I'll add one more little piece to this. Back April 21st, 22nd, 23rd, when I was talking about all the Cern shit.
First Bond film was Dr. No.
First Bond film.
Bond 1.
Bond 1. Number 1, Dr. No. Okay, so we need to go look up Dr. No.
Yeah.
What was that about? I don't remember now. It's been so many years since I've watched a Bond movie.
Was Dr. No Peter Sellers?
No.
Is that one? No, that was... No.
So Peter Sellers was not named.
That was Strangelove. Yeah. Okay. That was what's his name? Kubrick, wasn't it?
Okay, so hold. Like I said about the whole Geneva Cern thing, and because this popped up just right this second, back in that April 21st, 22nd, 23rd, we had Prince die, Queen Elizabeth's birthday, where she was lighting the torches. They were then lighting the torches all over England or the United Kingdom. Like 1,600 torches being lit all over the United Kingdom, is also the day that they lit the torch in Greece with a massive Olympic torch opening ceremony also happened at that exact same time. Do you know where that torch went after it left Athens? It went to Geneva, Switzerland. They brought the fire from the torch in a special lantern for a ceremony in Geneva, Switzerland. And from there, it was flown to Rio to do the run with the torch all the way around as the preset to the Olympic Games. It went to Geneva, Switzerland. And
you're famous for talking about factions, right?
Yep.
So here we've got one faction who's doing the satanic rituals, it's dances to Shiva and freaking
fire starter
tunnels openings with goats and whatever, and
goats and
fires, torches going around the world. We've got all that shit, and then if we've got factions, and I believe we do.
Yep, good guys.
Then we've got to counter to that.
I agree. So I've always agreed with that. If the bad guys are out there,
Dr. No, 1962, a resourceful British government agent seeks answers in a case involving the disappearance of a colleague and the disruption of the American space program. Okay, got to watch Dr. No.
Okay, we'll have to sit down and watch Dr. No tonight. Fuck it, we'll watch it this afternoon. That'll be one the kids can watch because I mean it's old James Bond.
Thank you, Jed.
Oh, that's real.
Bond. What else could Bond 1 mean? In terms of mathematically or biochemically?
Sean Connery was the first Bond, right? Sean Connery was the very first James Bond.
I think so.
Yes, I thought so.
Yes, the trail leads him to the underground base of Dr. No.
Goes to the underground base of Dr. No.
And Ursula Andress was the first Bond girl.
The first Bond girl, that's right. No, Roger Moore wasn't the first. It was definitely Sean Connery.
He was the campiest, but he wasn't the first.
Yeah, he was the camp James Bond.
Plotting to disrupt an early American space launch with a radio beam weapon.
Okay, we have to go
watch. My God.
Okay, guys, everyone, your homework, should you choose to accept it, is to go watch the first James Bond movie, Dr. No. And I hope someone's watched it relatively recently. Let's see if there's any Mandela Effect changes in that movie. I mean, seriously, can you get any more stupid than this? There are no words.
So why is this old guy sitting there with his happy face on?
And he's the only one that you see that's in that situation of in an office. Everyone else
is about the only one that's of that age group. Well, maybe
no,
not.
There's the one older lady, but he's the only one that you see that is in an office. I mean, and there's the reams of paper everywhere, fucking hysterical. Actually, it looked like an office I'd run. And that's the only scene that you ever see. That scene of him stands out in the entire video.
There's all these connections with the colour orange happening too. Okay.
Orange, i.e. amber. Oh, did I say that? Sorry. Bernstein, I mean, no, I didn't say that either.
Okay. We should go now. Everybody go watch Dr. No.
Oh,
And we all
the
take notes,
insanity.
and we'll compare notes next week.
Same bad time, same bad channel.
Okay.
Too freaking funny.
I'll see you tomorrow for the collective.
Bye, guys.
And hopefully we'll actually get around to a doing. Maybe we can stop talking long enough to actually do something tomorrow.
Is there a campfire chat?
Yes, there is.
I didn't know. I didn't see the messages. If there's a campfire chat, guys, after the show. Sheila, are you there?
There you go.
Yes, there we go. There's a campfire chat after this.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.
Bye, guys.